afternoon one and all. So today as a part of our mains answer writing program come mentorship program Chak de Mains, we will be discussing about mains answer writing strategy. Okay, we will be discussing about mains answer writing strategy. So as you all know, mains is a very integral part of your civil service examination. You know that your preliminary examination is just a qualifying paper. Your overall mark allocation is comprises of mains and interview. So what about the main score? It is actually 1750 and you have interview for 275. So our total 225 will be your final score. Okay. And if you consider this 1750 mark, 1250 comes from your GS and essay. Okay, GS and essay 5 papers, and your 500 marks is all about your optional paper. So in this session, I will not be discussing anything regarding optional stuff and mains interview part. I will be discussing only about the main strategy, exclusively main strategy. So we have a program here called as Chak de Mains. This is an exclusive program for answer writing, mentorship and test series. So I will be discussing about that. As a part of that, we will be discussing some questions and I will be showing you model answers, etc. So see, we had Chak de Mains, first bell. We have 3 bells in Chak de Mains, first bell, second bell and third bell. And first bell is a kind of alert. Okay, what is meant by alert? It's a kind of making aware that there is something going to happen. So in that session, what we have done is 30 days program it is. 30 tests were conducted, not 30 days, 20 plus tests were conducted including performance assessment and value addition. So daily it was conducted and that part is over. And moving on further, we have bell 2 which is a warning and bell 3 which is a final call. So bell 2 will be topic wise test and bell 3 it will be of exam like condition, exactly UPSC like pattern we will be conducting the test. That is test like bell 3. So coming to bell 1, so we already had this bell 1, it ended 2 days back, 30 day session. So in that session, when I come across, not only me, when we mentors come across the question paper, what we really found that the aspirants face some issues regarding the preparation, regarding the presentation, I would say preparation and presentation. So main issue that is faced by aspirants is not only beginners, veterans, both of them were taking our test. Okay, mains writing candidates were taking our test. Apart from that, future mains candidates were also taking the test. And what we personally found out is that there are various issues faced by these aspirants. And one is regarding the content. Beginner and the veteran both face this content issue. Second is time management. See, this first bill was of a trial kind of thing. So they were not asked to write in a prescribed time limit. Okay, I will explain you the time frame of this UPSC examination. They were free to write in their own time. So anyway, they took almost 20-25 minutes for writing each answer. Okay, which is as a first stage it is fine, but it is not an ideal strategy. I will say why. And third is regarding structure. And fourth, demand of the question, whether it is addressed or not. Demand of the question, whether it is addressed or not. And finally, there are directives you may be knowing. What are the directives in this mains examination? Discuss, comment, critically evaluate, enumerate, do you think that, how far do you agree? Like that, so many directives are there. And in directives aspect also, the aspirants like feels difficult to address the question. So what I am going to tell you is regarding content, time management, structure, demand, directives, how you have to address the particular question. Okay, regarding question, I will show some questions and we will have a brainstorming also. So what I personally feel is, what our team has found out is that, see, content, if you study and prepare well, you will definitely have the content. As you guys are PCM students, after 1 year, your content will be fine. Okay, you may have the content or like minimum content is only required for writing the mains. You don't have to be extraordinarily a knowledgeable person in order to write mains. Like a minimum amount of content is required, and with that content, what you have to do is you have to effectively present the answers. Okay, that is the real challenge. So content, what we have to do, we have to study, no other option. Study, learn, relearn, unlearn, whatever you want, you do that. Particularly studying content, like not mug-upping, conceptualizing the thing, and you have to study regarding the content aspect. And if you consider time management, I'll say you, see, this examination is a 3-hour examination. All these papers, see, 250 marks, we have 5 papers, and all these papers have 3 hours. Okay, 3 hours means 180 minutes. So, for 1 mark, you will hardly get 0.72 second. Okay, for 1 mark, you will hardly get 0.72 second. How? 180 divided by 250. Okay, 0.72. So, this will be the time for 1 mark. So, for 10 mark question, the time you will get is 7.2 seconds. For 15 mark, the time you get is 10.8. Minutes. Here 10.8 minutes. And for 20 mark, it will be 14.4. So, as an average, we can see that for 10 mark, it will be 7 minutes. For 15 mark, it will be 11 minutes. See, I have added 0.2 here. So, 11 minutes. For 20 mark, it will be 14 minutes. I have excluded this 4 seconds. Okay, 14 minutes. So, this is how you will get the time, 7 minutes, 11 minutes and 14 minutes. Okay. Normally, as of now, what you are doing, and most of the aspirants, both the veterans and this beginners, what they are doing is, they are not sticking on to the time limit. They are just writing the answers. So, they are not just following the time. And see, the irony is, you have to write for 3 hours. Continuously, you have to write for 3 hours. So, what you should understand or realize is that you can't write extraordinary answers. Okay, you can't write extraordinary answers for all the question. It's all about writing an average answer for all the question. You have to attempt the 20 questions. That is the challenge. You have to attempt all the 20 questions. Then only you are in. Okay, if you attempt 17 or 16 questions, you are literally out of the competition. So the thing is, you have to attempt 20 questions. That should be your primary agenda. You have to attempt 20 questions and make sure that all your answers are above average answers. You don't have to write extraordinary answers. Make sure that your answers are above average. See, this first bell, we had first bell, and in this we have given individual subtopics each day. We have given subtopics, and they were asked to write the answers in a prescribed format. And what I found out is that they are not even writing the answers in the prescribed format. I will show you the specimen. That is the one major issue the aspirants are doing, like major mistake I would say the aspirants are doing. And secondly, what is important is, as I said earlier, time management. So in first bell, they were not adhering to the time, but in the second stage onwards, you have to stick on to the time. Okay, time management is really important. Regarding the topic wise test comes, your time management is literally important. So what I personally feel is, for 10 marks, 7 minutes, 15 marks, 11 minutes, and 20 marks, 14 minutes. So I'll just brief down the examination papers. Okay, these papers I'll brief down, and you know, I don't have to explain further, I guess. First of all, you have your essay paper, 250 marks, essay paper. Secondly, GS1, we have GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4. And if you consider essay paper, you have to write 2 essays. 2 essays you have to write. That 2 essays, each essay carry 125 marks. So in order to write 2 essays, you have total 300 marks, you will get almost, not 250 marks, you will get almost 3 hours. So for one essay, your time will be 1.5 hours. So you have to first of all brainstorm the content, brainstorm the answers, and then you have to write. You all of a sudden you should not write an essay, you have to brainstorm. See, this is an essay paper, I'll show you. See, nowadays essay paper is somewhat philosophical. They are not asking from the static part or like the content oriented question. They are asking philosophical type of questions like life is a long journey between human being and being human. You have to comment on that. You have to write an essay. Literally you have to write an essay. And what the aspirants face during an essay writing is repetition. They will come and repeatedly saying one thing. Okay, they will be in a loop. They will be repeatedly saying one thing. That is not an ideal practice. So you have to practice. Whether you are writing this year or next year, you have to practice an essay. You'll be practicing, no worries. So regarding essay, as I mentioned earlier, for this 2 essays, one essay 1.5 hours, another essay 1.5 hours, first 20 minutes for structuring, then you have to literally write. So what I am supposed to do here is, I'll show you the question. You can just follow the question. And apart from that, what is important here is, see, this is the specimen paper which I have taken from the UPSC side. See, this is how an UPSC question booklet looks, okay. This is how the UPSC booklet looks. So you can take the printout of this page. You can take any of the page and you can take the printout, okay. And in that printout papers, you write the answers. That will be better. When you practice, you should maintain the space gap between the pages and within the like you should not write anything in the boundaries. See, if you follow some toppers answer case, there will be penalty score, okay. If you write here anything and all, you will get penalty. I have seen papers of toppers in which they have like fetched penalties. So if you write anything here or there, you will be penalized, okay. 2 or 3 marks will be reduced. That you have to take care. And the structure, body, introduction, everything you have to write it in this paper. So if I am saying what is important here is, as I mentioned earlier, for a, wait a second. For a 10-mark question, you have to write 2 phases, actually 2 phases of a paper, okay, 2 phases you have to write, and 15 mark, you have to write 3 phases. If it is 20 mark, you have to write 4 phases. See, for GS1, I would say, for GS1 if you consider, GS1 paper, it is mainly a static subject, right, which all comes under GS1, history, geography, society. Then in history part, we have in ancient, medieval, comprises of art and culture part, and we have modern Indian history, world history, post-independence consolidation, geography, society. So it is more or less a static topic. So GS1, all the marks are allocated in such a manner that you will have 10 mark question and 15 mark question. So 10 questions each. So total 20 questions. 20 questions. So 10 marker will be 10, 15 marker will be 10. So total 20 questions, you will score 250. Okay, final score will be 250. If you consider GS2, see, for 12.5 mark question, you will get same 2 phases only, and you can write it in 9 minutes, okay, 9 minutes. The time will be 9 minutes. 20 marks, it will be 40 minutes. 15 mark, it will be 11 minutes. 10 mark, it will be 7 minutes. Okay. So if you consider GS2, earlier there was a trend of asking 12.5 mark question. 12.5 mark question of 20 questions. So you will score 250. But nowadays, not that trend. They will ask you 10 marker for 10 question and 15 mark question 10 questions. So total 250. So that is the trend, okay. That is the trend for GS2 also. GS3 also same trend. So 10 marker question will be 10 number, 15 marker question will be 10 in number. So total 250. That is the trend. So GS4, this is not the case for GS4. In GS4, if you consider, GS4 you will have 13 10 marker question. Very important. GS4, it is of 2 subdivisions. 2 is case studies, I would say. First part, you have 13 question. 13 question of 10 mark each. So the 130 question. And in GS, that subpart case studies, we will be having 6 questions, 20 marks each. So 120. So GS4, this is the approach for GS4. And if I consider each paper, so GS4 alone, you have a mark shift, okay, not the exact model of GS1 and GS2, GS3. It is comprises of 13 10 marks question and 6 20 marks question. This is how the question looks. And see, apart from this, the challenges, what we found out is that the aspirant faces content-wise issues are there, time management is there. Time management, you have to specify to this time limit. What you can do is half an hour, take half an hour, write 3 questions. Practice it in such a manner that for 3 hours, by systematic improvement, you can increase the number of questions. Okay. First of all, half an hour, try to attempt 3 questions. Or first start with 2 questions. First you will be taking 1 question. In order to write 1 question, you will be taking half an hour. So then increase the number to 2 and maximum to 3. Okay, 3 questions, half an hour will do. Like that you have to improve, and 1 hour write 5 questions. Then try to improve it for 7. Like that you can improve. Okay, so it's up to you. But what I personally feel is, what we have found out is that the aspirants face some other issues also. First is time. See, normally space issue is there, space constraint. See, the exam question itself has some constraints given to you. One is space. See, two phases. You have to make sure that it should be like concised in that two spaces. That is one constraint. Then second is time constraint is there. So 7 minutes you have to write a 10 marker. Third is content wise constraints. Content, you should have the content, minimum content to write the question. And fourth is you have to address the demand of the question and directives. We will be having a separate session for directives, like what is comment, what is discuss, what is the so-called critically evaluate, enumerate, all those things we will be having a separate session. So what I am going to say is, other than this, aspirants feel like having so many issues. Like one is handwriting. Okay, handwriting issue regarding the legibility. See, whatever be your handwriting, no issues. The answer should be legible. That is the thing. Your beauty of the handwriting is not evaluated here. The legibility is evaluated. So your answers should be legible. And see the font size. Okay, some answers are literally like very small writings. Okay, that should be avoided. You should have a minimum font size. That is quite important. That is 11 or 12. In Word, if you look, 11 or 12 size you should have while writing. Okay, and make sure that your answer have an introduction, body, conclusion. You know that introduction, body, conclusion. I'll come to that. So introduction, it will be 2-3 lines. Okay, 2-3 lines means only 1/4 of the paper, and body and conclusion. And most of the aspirants, what they are doing is the conclusion will be very clumsy, like very congested conclusion they will be writing. The issue is they are not getting enough time to write the conclusion. So the conclusion will be very compressed conclusion. So that should not be the case. When you look at the answer should be in such a manner that it is very presentable, it is very readable, and it is very appealing to the mentor, like, or the evaluator. What we personally feel is that while seeing a paper, if it is very legible, if it is presented well, then we have a tendency to put more marks. Okay, that is the normal thing. So not regarding your handwriting, regarding the presentability. And another issue is, as I mentioned earlier, directives will be having a separate session. And another issues that are facing is whether the answer should be written in paragraph manner or point wise manner. This is a common issue or like a confusion that is faced by the aspirant. See, you can write it in point wise manner or paragraph wise manner, it's up to you. But if you are writing in paragraph, make sure that you underline the key points. It is very important, you should underline the key points, no other way, because then only it will be visible to the evaluator. Otherwise the answer is not visible. So that thing you have to take care. And another important aspect is, some may feel like the language issues or like vocab issues, grammatic issues. And see, while you count the words, the connecting words are not counted in this 250 words. Okay, very important, these connecting words of, and, is, etc. are not counted. Apart from that, they are telling you to write about 250 words. That is 250 words. After so many studies only, they have curated that, okay, 250 words, 7 minutes can be written by an aspirant. Okay, that is how they have framed the question paper itself. So vocab issues is there, language issues is there. See, all these can be rectified by reading newspaper, regularly reading newspaper. This language issues can be avoided. And many face this connecting issues. Okay, how to connect current affairs with the fact or stat is really an important aspect. And as I mentioned earlier, if you consider a question, we have intro, body and conclusion. See, one important aspect is intro should be very crisp, very catchy, and regarding the body, how the question goes, go by that structure and write the body. And conclusion, always write a positive conclusion. Very, very important. Don't write a negative conclusion. Be positive, be futuristic, because you are going to be future civil servants. So as a civil servant, you have to see an issue or like a problem in a positive manner. So it is very must that you have to write the conclusion in a very positive manner. And if you criticize the government or the measures or any scheme or something, come up with solution or way forward in the answer itself. Very important. If you express challenges, if the question doesn't ask you about the challenges, if you explain challenges, you have to come up with solutions. It is mandatory. Okay, it is implicit. It won't be explicitly mentioned in the question paper, but it is implicit. Okay, and next important aspect is regarding the sentence construction. Okay, how long the sentence should be, or like how lengthy the sentence should be. It is often a confusion among the aspirants. See, write simple short sentences, that will be better. If you write long sentences writing commas, commas, commas and all, it will be very difficult for the evaluator to read the particular answer. So, simple sentence construction will do, very simple construction will do, and language, as I mentioned earlier, those who are writing in Malayalam, make sure that your answers are properly evaluated by a person who knows the language well. That also you have to take care. English also you have to take proper feedbacks from the mentors. Okay. So what we will do is, I'll give you a question. So the question is from disaster management. It was taken from Chak de Mains question itself. Those who have already written, just brainstorm it. Okay. So I'll tell you how you have to address a question. So the question is, please note down the question. The question is, discuss the possible disasters. You please note down. Discuss the possible disasters. See, I'll show you some toppers copy also, so that you will get the idea. Discuss the possible disaster. Discuss the possible disasters which are probable in the. Discuss the possible disasters which are probable in the cities of India. Discuss the possible disaster which are probable in the cities of India. Also discuss how effects of disaster can be reduced. Also discuss how the effects of disaster can be minimized. Discuss the possible disasters which are probable in the cities of India. See, this is a general question, I would say. It is from disaster management. You may be or may not be aware of disaster management, but however you can attempt this question. This is a general question only. Discuss the possible disaster which are probable in cities of India. Also discuss how the effects of these disaster can be minimized. This is the question. See, this question is a 15 marker by the by. See, I am not going to express the content here. You just structure it. You just structure the question. Like what you will write in intro, what is there in the body and conclusion. Just structure it. Like reading the question, go by the flow, try to structure it. Discuss the possible disaster which are probable in the cities of India. See, they are asking about cities, okay. So that is a key word. See, first of all, when you get a question, mark the keywords. Here the keyword is discuss, okay. When you are asked to discuss something, you have to just go on discussing that. Go on debating on that aspect, and you have to give it a way forward conclusion like that aspect, you have to conclude it. So the keyword is general keyword, that is to discuss, okay. See, discuss generally means you have to write the positive and negative impacts in a balanced note. That is the keyword discuss means. So I'll give a detailed video on discuss aspect, the keywords aspect. So discuss the possible disaster. See, first keyword is discuss. You have to underline that. Second keyword is possible disaster. They are asking about the possible disaster. See, you can write anything because the word is possible. Not the disaster that happened in cities. They are asking about possible disasters. So possible disaster is the second keyword, which are probable in the cities of India. See, again they are asking about the probability thing. So possible disasters you can include, and also discuss how the effect. So effect is a keyword, and how it can be minimized is another keyword. So I'll brief down the structure. So first of all, you have to write an intro. I'll say what all things you can write in intro. Second is the body part. In body part, you have to first mention about the possible disasters. Okay, possible disaster you have to mention. And third one, discuss how the effects of these disasters can be minimized. See, this question is has an implicit thing. What is it that? It is effects, okay. It is effects. You have to mention the effects of disaster here. Normally, what the aspirants do is, they skip the word effect and they won't write the effects of disaster. First they will write the intro, then they will write the possible disaster, then they directly will jump into the effects, how the effects can be minimized. But before that, you have to write something about what are the effects caused by this disaster. That you have to write. If I am asking, like if I am telling you to write, many won't be writing that. Like in Chak de Mains program, I given this question as disaster management question, and many haven't written the effects. What are the effects? That is an important aspect, and you will get 2 marks for that. Like in 2 marks, you will get 1 or 1.5 marks for that. That is an important aspect. So introduction is there, body is there, conclusion you have to write, and this is the general structure. What is the structure? First is you have to write the possible disaster and what are the effects caused by this disaster and how the effects can be minimalized, and lastly regarding the conclusion. This is the part. Okay, this is the structural aspect. Is it clear, the structural aspect? You have to write the effects, very important. And say regarding intro, what all things you can write? First of all, what is a disaster? You can define. See, whenever you define something, you have to mention the source. Okay, even if it is a UNCCD definition or like an IMD definition, you have to mention the source, okay, or who has given that definition you can mention. For example, if you are giving the definition for disaster, you have mentioned who have come up with that definition. That is important. That will fetch you more marks. So intro is clear. You can write about disaster, or like you can mention about the urban scenario, like over 1/3 of the population lives in urban cities. So disaster, like due to this increasing climate change and anthropogenic man-made and natural factors, disasters is very probable in urban areas. Like this you can mention a fact. Okay, I have just given a fact. You don't have to always write the introduction. Example can be given as in the form of a fact also. So that will be your introduction. And coming to body, see possible disaster, what I found out is that aspirants just go and write on about the disaster. For example, they write cyclones, they like to floods, the drought, this groundwater poisoning, nuclear attacks, biochemical attacks. They'll write all these in a like lucid manner. So you don't do that. You have to structure it. How you can structure disaster? The definition itself says that we have two types, natural and man-made disasters. Natural disaster. So you can classify it as natural disaster. Natural disaster, floods, droughts, tsunami, earthquakes, with examples you can quote. So that is with respect to natural disaster. And next, coming to man-made disaster, you can mention about this nuclear attacks, nuclear leakages that happened in Samsung in India. So biochemical attacks, all these can be mentioned. And moving on, what are the effects caused by these disasters? What are the effects in general? Next aspect of the answer. What are the effects? Disaster, what are the effects caused by this disaster? See, you can mention anything. The casualties you can quote, poverty you can quote, unemployment. And if it is like hitting, the disaster has hit some metropolitan, as it is mentioned that cities. See, all the headquarters are located in cities. For example, RBI or like SEBI or like this government functionary, secretariat or something, all will be located in cities. So the functioning of the government itself will be affected. You can mention very general points, but you can specify it. As the question asked about probable disasters in cities, you have to exclusively mention about cities. So that is how you have to approach the important, like what are the effects aspect you have to address. And finally, how the effects can be minimalized. So in that aspect, you can mention about Sendai framework, Hugo framework, early warning system, community participation. Very general and particular, these frameworks are there. Pre-disaster management, post-disaster management, you can classify it that and you can write. So that part is the technical part in this question. In that part, you have to be technical. You have to give an answer in line with what you have studied in disaster management. And finally, what you can do? Finally, you can conclude in such a way that you can mention that disaster management practices involve multiple stakeholders with both public and private entities. Enquiring institutionalized coordination is to ensure build back strategies or something like that. A positive conclusion, a very positive conclusion you have to do. So this is how you have to structure an answer. So you have intro part. So intro part, body, conclusion. So before attempting the question, read the question very well and underline the keywords. That is the first thing you have to do. So first of all, what you will do? Keywords. Okay, underline the keywords. Second aspect, think about the structure. The structure should go in flow with the answer. Okay, go in flow with the answer. So think about the structure. Then brainstorm it. See, all these has to be done within the span of, this is a 15 marker question. So you have to do it in a span of 11 minutes. Okay, 11 minutes you have to do. And brainstorm it. Finally, start writing. Start writing. So before writing, you have to read the question again and make sure that you have addressed the question well. That you have to do. Then you have the space constraints. Okay, see, if it is a 15-mark question, you have to write 3 phases. And see, in this question, in my opinion, if you draw a map of India, it will be an excellent answer. You can draw a map of India, show the urban cities and what are the issues faced by these urban cities, whether it is drought, whether it is floods. If you can show it in a map of India, the answer will be very enrichful. Okay. If you draw a map, make sure that it is boxed and figure number is also given. Okay. Drawing a map, figure, anything you can do. The thing is you have to box it and number the map or like figure. So you can write the intro in 2-3 lines. Next, what is possible disaster? You can classify it as a natural and man-made disaster. Then what are the effects caused? So this page you will take, and what are the effects you have to mention. Okay. And finally, how it can be reduced. See, this natural and man-made, you will take almost this page, and effects, you can draw a spoke diagram or something. You don't have to literally write everything. And finally, how it can be minimized, last one page and conclusion. This is how a 15-mark question has to be addressed. Is it clear? So similarly, I will show a topper answer key. So here, this is the answer key of Aishwarya Verma. She has secured All India 4, I guess, All India 4 this year. If you look at her answer, okay, see, this is a question from art and culture aspect. This is a 10-mark question. The question is a bit lengthy. In the context of protection of monuments, explain the role of Archaeological Survey of India. Also comment on the challenges faced by Archaeological Survey of India and measures taken to address these. Okay. So see here, she has underlined the keywords. First of all, context of protection of monuments. So you have to explain in the context of protection of monuments and explain the role. So one line or something you have to mention the role. So she has underlined role. An Archaeological Survey of India keyword, and also comment on the challenges. Challenges is another keyword by ASI, and measures is another keyword. So go with the flow. Okay. First of all, she has introduced it in a very brief manner. Archaeological Survey of India was established by Alexander Cunningham. See, she has included a fact here, like fact or an important person she has included, which is a very good approach. So Alexander Cunningham. So year also can be mentioned. Okay, year can be mentioned. She hasn't mentioned the year. If year was mentioned, it would have been much content rich. To discover the past heritage and to understand the Indian culture. See, if you are not remembering the year, just don't write, okay. See, some normal years won't be sufficient. You have to mention the exact year. And see, second aspect is role. Okay. See, role she has mentioned over the years. What are the role? Discovery of new sites. Example, Harappa she has mentioned. Understanding the culture. Then preserving the existing sites, restoration of sites. So she has explained in such a manner that in this question she hasn't come up with much examples. You have to give much examples, okay. Especially GS1, you can provide as much examples as possible. So come up with more examples and see challenges faced. See, this is a booklet, okay, answer booklet. She hasn't written a particular question and shown it to the evaluator. She has written 20 questions and she has submitted the booklet. So the answer won't be extraordinary. These are average answers only, but this is the reality, okay. What you guys are now writing are extraordinary answers because you are studying it and writing it. At the final day, if you get all the 20 questions, what I personally asked the student, what they said was, like, they will be literally blank, okay. Like, all of a sudden you will feel that you don't know nothing. That kind of feeling you will get. And from that feeling, you will start writing, okay. So, whatever you have studied from your early classes, maybe in 2nd standard or 3rd standard, like this accumulated knowledge really works. Maybe your college, even if you have studied degree, engineering, whatever it is, medicine or whatever it is, something you have learned in the college days or school days, everything will help in writing the answer. Or like normal conversation within your family or friends, everything can help you in writing the answer. So here she hasn't come up with much examples. You have to come up with much more examples. And challenges she has written: skilled staff, lack of funds, See, these are very general points. Funding issue, if any organization may have this staff issues, funding issues, this hierarchical issues will be there, this bureaucratical dilemmas will be there, all these points can be mentioned, and technologically updation is not done. So these are general points that you can mention. Okay, and moving on further, measures taken. So Ministry of Culture and Tourism we have a heritage scheme is there. We have this Vande Bharat Express exclusively for the circuit connecting and all those things you can mention. Promoting tourism through Swadesh Darshan, all these things you can mention. And finally, ASI is instrumental in reconstructing the glorious history of India. See, this is her conclusion, a one-liner conclusion, that will do. So 10-mark question, you are supposed to write only this much. Okay, as of practicing now, you can write like above average, very good answers, but in real time mode all the answers will be average only. You have to make sure that your answers stand above average. That is the one thing you can do. So this is a topper's answer. Okay, see, she has secured all India rank 4. So handwriting is very legible, not an extraordinary beautiful handwriting, but it is very legible, right? Very legible handwriting it is. See, and see the spacing and all. She has managed the spacing and all very well. And look at the sentences are very short, not lengthier sentences. When I evaluated your answers itself, I found out that you guys are writing very lengthier points. You don't have to write lengthier points. Even if you are writing in paragraph, make sure that you underline the points. See, Tina Dabi is a topper. She used to write in paragraph mode. She is the person who is writing in this bullet points. So anything is fine. And you don't have to exactly number it. You can draw bullets or like tick marks, etc. For each answer, come up with some innovation. Don't write like this numerical numbers for all questions. Some question you can write numerical numbers, some question bullets, some question tick mark, some question arrow. Like make the paper look very diverse. Okay, so that diversity will fetch you more marks. And if you consider, see, though the Government of India Act 1919, see 1919 Act is called as Montague-Chelmsford reforms. Okay, propose some radical administrative changes. See, when you hear the term 1919 Act, you must think about diarchy. That is the important aspect. You will study it. So British government in 1920, see, she faced various pressure. See, this is a question. It's short of fulfilling aspirations of Indians. Again, a general question. See, she has written British government in 1920s faced various pressure both internally and in Britain to bring constitutional changes in India. Very good introduction actually. She hasn't taken anything from the question. She has, from the historical understanding, she has written and improved that. She has mentioned that 1920s we had constitutional issues, right? The Simon Commission came and went and all. It is a no white, like no black commission, full white commission, I would say. So all those things aspect, and finally they came up with 1935 Act. Before that there were so many constitutional reforms happening. Before 1935 Act, the important constitutional reform that happened was 1990. So she has written in such a manner that 1919 Act 1920s she has mentioned that, and finally she has said that in August declaration, Way of Government of Act 1919 was enacted. So her introduction is literally good because she has mentioned the history in a brief manner. Okay, and Government of India Act 1990, what are the radical changes? Bicameralism, diarchy, see, all these things she has mentioned. And number of Indians in Executive Council increased. See, this is very factual. You should know the content. These questions you should know the content, otherwise you can't write it. See, what is special about GS1 is that you should know the content, then only you can write. And regarding GS2, if you consider, you have to mention the judgments, cases, articles and all. If a question comes from federalism, make sure that you mention about SR Bommai case. That is very important. If some question comes about center-state relation, you have to mention about Sarkari or Punji Commission. Or if a question comes from education perspective, you have to mention Article 21A. These are mandatory. Some cases, etc. are mandatory. See, this is a history question. As it is regarding Act also, again it comes under the historical background only. And however, it remains short on the demands. What are the short of demands? Self-governments was not achieved. Civil services age and representation was an issue. Effective veto was still under Viceroy. All those issues you can mention. Okay. So the resentment due to the Act caused Indians to launch non-cooperation movement under Gandhiji. See, she knows the historical aspect in a chronological manner. That is why she has mentioned the historical aspect, and she has managed to write the answer. And see, again, the answer is very crisp, to the point. This is how the answer should be written. And in general, what I personally say is in GS1, many aspirants find it difficult to memorize the content. So that you have to draw a pictorial diagram or like draw a timeline and make sure that the content is pakka clear. And diagrams, pictures, etc. can be included in GS1, especially in geography. In history also you can include, okay. And in GS2, judgments, cases, articles, etc. has to be mentioned. And GS3, normally what is the issue is, GS3 is a content rich paper. You should have content, GS3 and GS2 highly linked with current affairs. So you have to read the newspaper, that you have to do. And GS4, what the aspirants generally face is real life examples, it is very difficult to quote. Okay, for example, compassion. What real life example you may quote, that will be a confusion. Or like empathy, real life examples you have to quote, then only you will get more marks. So that angle you have to take care. So these are the aspects with respect to GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, and all these GS1 papers will have an exclusive session for GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4 and essay, and optional, it's up to you, you have to take care. And finally, what I am going to say is, what are the like benefits of joining this Chak de Mains, I would say. And see, this is a highly customizable program. Customizable in the sense means, if you have skipped the bell one, you can join now and write the first bell. Okay, you can customize it according to your convenience. You can write and show it to the mentors. The mentors are all time available. And second important aspect is writing the answer. The next bell is the topic wise test. So don't miss it. You have to write each topic, that is history. Timetable, history will be separate, geography will be separate, so that you have to write in such a manner. You will be well versed with the content, you can write the examination. And the bell 3 is fully and like what real-time examination mode, UPSC model. The examination will be conducted here, including this papers, compulsory papers, that is essay, not essay, English and this Malayalam paper, compulsory papers will be included. This is our approach. So what here at Gallant is, Gallant stands for quality. So comprehensive enrichment classes will be given, personalized feedback will be given, and performance assessment and value addition sessions will be also there. So that is with respect to the answer writing aspect. And for key directives regarding the UPSC examination, we will have a separate session, directives discussed with examples I will be explaining. Like in this week itself we will be having a session. And apart from that, content enrichment sessions will also be taken. So this is the general approach. I hope you understood the important aspect of this mains answer writing. And mains answer writing, GS paper plus essay, it is 1250 marks, okay. So make sure that you score really well in that examination, like real-time examination if it is you are writing mains this year or future mains. Make sure that you have the minimum content, then only you can write the answer. And minimum content, what you have to do is revise, 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 no other mantra, revise maximum. And for answer writing, what is the mantra? Practice, 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 that you have to do. So if you are a beginner or a veteran aspirant, start writing now itself, okay. Don't delay that, start writing now itself. Daily at least one answer should be written, okay, at least one answer. Just brainstorm it. If you are not ready to write, just brainstorm it, it will definitely help you. So that's it. Thank you.